This is kind of autobiographical, and this one is the title of my talk today as well. I was born in West Virginia. My mother taught music. My father was a union man, a teamster and a singer. Their blood runs through me. They are my heart and hands. I tried running away from all that they were, but no matter how far I ran, something deep in my gut brought me back to where it all began. See, I'm my daddy's son, my mama's baby, proud of everything they gave me. When it's all said and done, I'm my daddy's son. Well, working for the grocery chain, Dad drove a maintenance truck, fixed everything that broke down. It's Kroger's. Yeah. Mama, let's see, now I lost my words. That was Dad. Let me start. Dad drove a maintenance truck, fixed everything that broke down. Working for the public school, Mom turned the noise of young lives into beautiful sound. Dad said, plan your work, work your plan. Mama said, sing every song with your heart in your hand. There, love came together, here I am. See, I'm my daddy's son, my mama's baby, proud of everything they gave me. When it's all said and done, hey, I'm my daddy's son. I watch my own boys grow and sometimes stumble as they make their way on down that rocky road that turns you wise and humble. Someday they may turn and say, I'm my daddy's son, my mama's baby, proud of everything they gave me. When it's all said and done, I'm my mama's baby, I'm my daddy's son. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. All right, now we can go home. No, I jotted down a few notes for my talk today. Happy Father's Day, and as has already been stated, happy Father's Day to everyone. You've been a parent figure in one way or another. And we've all had a father. That I know for sure. Right? Or we wouldn't be here. And some of us are fathers or parents ourselves, right? Some of us are grandparents. Some of us are great-grandparents. And so I want to start with this affirmation. Is it in the slideshow at all? It is. All right. There we go. I'll say it once and we'll say it together. I am the promise of the past and the blessing of the future. Together. I am the promise of the past and a blessing of the future. It all comes down to this present moment, because does anything else really exist? No. It's this present moment. And so we come with all this expectation from the past, with all this expectation about what's going to happen into the future, but we need to settle and be here in this moment. Now, and I'm going to talk about fathers, I'm going to talk about mothers, but I'm going to talk about us in this wonderful chain of humanity, and we are here in this moment. I had this isn't the first, I'm my daddy's son is a good title for the talk, but I had another title. Who's your daddy? Now, that phrase has a little sordid past to it, right? And so I didn't call the talk. I didn't know if anybody would have come. See, Kathy, she's glad I didn't have. But if we take all the connotations and put them aside, who is your father? Do you know your father? How much do you know of your father? Okay. Now, and here's the big question, and we may be able to leave right after this, but I got lots of time. I do have lots of. I got lots of time. Okay, that's all right. Have you settled everything with your father? Now, many of our fathers have passed on. Many of our fathers are here. Some of us don't have anything to settle with our fathers because it was all settled in the lifetime, and it was good. Some of us didn't know our fathers very well. But in order to move into the present moment and then be in that present moment and move forward, you got to get it straight with your dad and your mom. Both. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to change anything that they did. Now, my dad, I'll talk a little more about him, but he could have been described as a rascal in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, he was very loving and kind and tender to me, and in a lot of ways, it was confusing, the ways that he did it. But it doesn't take him for me to resolve my issues with him or my issues with my mother. And there's a beautiful thing, and I'm going to talk, so there's an Instagram that I love. So you got 4 women. You got great-grandma, you got grandma, you got mom, and you got the girl. Has anybody seen this? And great-grandma's got this big boulder. She hands it to grandma. And grandma's got this big boulder, and she hands it to mom. And mom got this big weight and looks back at those 2 women and looks at her child. And she sets the boulder down and sits on it and gets this wreath of flowers and places it on the daughter's head. And the caption for that, I want to get it right, is don't pass on what was never yours to carry. Right? So that's what resolving things with dad means, with resolving things with mom means. They did, all right, first of all, does anybody know about radical forgiveness? That whole thing. And maybe we're playing parts with each other. Like I said to you, I'm going to come in and be a rascal in your life just so I can give you opportunities to improve yourself. Now, it may be hard having not only suffered sometimes neglect, but downright abuse from our parents to say they came in to give me that. But if you look at it as a gift, as a resolution in your life, as something to overcome in your life, then it is a gift. All right, so I'm going to, first of all, do this. Dad did the best he could with what he had. Can everybody agree on that? Mom did too. And so the unresolved boulders that he handed me, and I've been lugging around all of this time, we're going to put them down. And it's going to take some work. And we've got to work through things. You can't just decide that in your brain because your body remembers. Now, one of the deep things was, anybody ever get a whipping? Okay. And thank goodness that the children are out of here. So some of those kids, and this is a good thing for society, some of those kids might not even know what a whooping is. And that's good, right? But the worst is, so Dad would take off his belt once in a while and went a little far. But the worst whooping ever is that was when I really broke the rules and I got something wrong. And I had to go out to the willow tree and pick my own switch. What a dilemma, right? Because if you picked a wee little one, you had to run your butt back out and get another one worthy of it. But if you picked a really big one, that was going to hurt, right? And so the mental anguish of sitting there figuring out which switch to, and so in the punishment and the shame. Now, nobody needs to carry any of that, okay? So let's put all of that down. Let's put that boulder down. Because they were whipped, and we just resort to those things as we go through. So, yes, we need to resolve that thing, if anything is left to resolve within the dad. Let me talk about moms again for just a minute, and this brings us back to this promise of the past and blessing of the future, and we live in smack dab in the middle of that. Science has told us that all of the eggs in a woman are in her when she's born, right? So if you have a mother and she's pregnant with a child and about to give the child, there's the mom, the child, and the eggs for the child of the child. Guess what? That's a holy trinity. That's 3 generations in one person as she gives birth. Yeah. Now, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, fine. How about mom, child, next child? That is the circle of life right there. And we're smack in the middle of it. We're one of those eggs, right? And so that makes us connected to the past and connected to the future. But we can't go back there and change anything, and we can't go ahead and... You ever try to fix the future in the present? A lot. Right? And with the kids and with things like that. So we need to stay here and, first of all, clean up all the past that we can. Now, I said you got to resolve your parent issues, and you do. And people, I've just got to tell you, if you brush it under the rug and just say, well, my dad, I don't want to open that. If you don't open it, you will continue to carry it around. Okay? And so we do that. And I just heard something last night, and I'll throw it in right now, and that is our brains. Have you ever had one of those self-help books, that tells you at the end of the chapter, you got a little assignment, and inevitably one of them is, journal about this. Do I want to write about that? Who's done it every time, journaled about it? No. And I'm like, well, what is this? Can I just... All right, we're going to skip that part. Here's what they found. And I researched it a little bit last night. So there are different parts of our brain, and basically the amygdala is deep in the brain, and that's where our fears kind of reside, right? If we're afraid of something or something has, if we've been burned once, once bitten, twice shy, all that's in the amygdala. And it's almost a knee-jerk reaction. It just happens. Oh, danger, run. Now, unresolved fears live in the amygdala too until they are transferred out. And guess how they get out? Here's what the exact statement is. The amygdala is where threat lives. The prefrontal cortex is where meaning lives. So when you write it out, It literally transfers it from the fear part of your brain into the meaning part of your brain. And then it has meaning. And so, oh gosh, this just, and every time I think of that man, and so you write that, and all of a sudden you look at it, and then that thing you want to be, which is someone who says, I was doing the best he could, but it's still residing, that hurt's still residing in my body somewhere, or in my fear thought. And so, there it is on paper. I see it now. My mind understands it now. The scared little kid that's in the other part of my brain can relax, because it's not going to happen again. So your amygdala thinks it's going to happen again. My dad's died in 2015. It ain't going to happen again. So why am I still afraid of it? Because it had not been given its proper meaning. And that was, here's a gift. This is the best I could do, son. I'm sorry. But that was the best I could do. Now you've got to take it from here. Or you've got to set it down from here and make it a stool so that you can crown your child with what they deserve. Right? My daughter, all right, I don't think this is fair. I love my daughter, but I don't think this is fair. For Father's Day last year, she gave me the book, Dad, I Want to Hear Your Story. You know what that is? It's a journal. So I have to answer all the questions in there. And so now her birthday is June 16th. It just came in. It often hits on Father's Day, which is kind of cool. So I said, all right, well, I'll finish this and give it to her for her birthday. Well, thankfully her birthday party was on Friday instead of Tuesday. I had 3 more days to finish it all up. I've been working on it and stuff like that, but what was the price of eggs the year I was born? What was the favorite movie, the biggest song? What are your 10 biggest songs? What are your 10 favorite movies? How did you meet this person? How about marriages? Well, how was your marriage? Well, I've had 3 of them that have all ended in a divorce. So there's all kinds of stuff on there, but what a catharsis to go through. And I wrote all of that stuff down, and then in the back it says, "Tell me more." And that's after all of these things. That's what I spent those last 3 days on. And I admitted I've made a lot of mistakes as a dad, and here are some of the big ones. And here are some of the things I wish I would have had the wherewithal to do better at the time. But I didn't. And so there they are. And so it works. I feel a little lighter today on this Father's Day because of that. All right. It's one of the 10 commandments, right? Honor your father and mother. Which commandment is it? Does anybody know? It's actually 5th. It's the 5th one. The first 4 about commandments, in the Hebrew law, the first 4 were about God. No other gods, no idols, don't take the Lord's name in vain, and keep the Sabbath holy. And then on the 5th one, it goes to mom and dad. And what does it say? Honor your mother and father. It doesn't say obey your mother and father. It doesn't say do everything that your mother and father said to do. Don't turn out exactly like your mother and father. It says, I love that word, and I looked it up in the Hebrew and everything, and it means honor. Honor. In other words, give proper respect. Present yourself as your father's son, my daddy's son, or daughter, your mother's daughter. And so honoring my parents is putting the stone down. Honoring the parents is to present the willow tree to my children not as a suffering plant, but as a beautiful thing. that, and I have a song about the willow that reaches and then touches its roots again. That's what we're doing, right? And so to honor your parents is to be the best you can in this moment and to pass that on to your children as well. All right, so when am I supposed to stop? You got about 10 minutes at the end?
Because it gives Miss Sandy, some time with the kids.
Yeah, all right. I'll talk another minute or two, and then I'll sing another song. How about that? All right, great. So my dad, he was great. He would always play football or hit pop-ups so we could shag him in the backyard. We had the model airplane club at my house. Everybody thought it was the coolest dad, and we'd make a little balsa wood airplanes and the control line, and we'd fly them and stuff like that. And but he would get angry sometimes, and my parents divorced when I was 14, and I tried to get that. I remember one time, I said, well, I'm just going to tell Dad what I think. Well, man. So he was eating chocolate chip cookies. He makes some of the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. And he was in a cookie jar, a clay cookie jar. He threw that thing against the wall and ran out and squealed the tires and went off. And I said, whoa, that's what you get when you tell the truth. And so there were those dynamics. And as time went on, he was born and raised in West Virginia just like me, and so sometimes you were on the list and sometimes you were off the list. And if you were off the list, you were off the list. You couldn't come visit or anything like that. But all that got resolved a few years before he passed, about 5 years before he passed. Suddenly I was back on the list. We don't need the whole story, and so I visited him as much as I could. And he was one of those guys, you have to get this right and get this right. There was only one way to repair a shingle on the roof, and he was too old to do it anymore, so I had to get up there. But I resolved that day that I'm do whatever he says, we'll just do it. So it took us about an hour and a half to put one shingle on. No, son, no. And I was so settled in myself to watching how frustrated he was, I almost started laughing. Where before, I was just this paralyzed little thing inside my amygdala, just doing it. And that's when I knew that I had at least taken a step towards resolving my dad issues. I accepted him exactly the way he was, the old rascal that he was. And we finally got it good enough, that shingle, and we went in and we had supper together, and all that becoming a little boy. Your parents know how to push your buttons. You know why they know how to push your buttons? They installed them. Right? All right. It takes a while to get that wiring out, but you can do it. Make peace. Make peace with your parents. That's the only way to make peace with yourself. That's the only way to put the boulder down and put the flowers on top of the child that comes next. I've been estranged from my oldest daughter now for about 9 years. She had some postpartum depression. She has 2 children, and then it turned into little clinical things. And then she said, Dad, I need to talk to you. And she sat me down and asked me every pointed question about why I divorced her mom and everything that happened. And it was not pretty at all. And afterwards she said, well, I'll contact you, don't contact me. And she severed ties with the family as well. And so we get word, but we don't talk. But I wrote a song called No Distance, and I'm going to sing that now, and it means something, and it was years before this happened with my daughter. But this is my song to my children, and I want to share it with you now. And thank you for inviting me to this wonderful situation. It's been years since I held you in my arms and rocked you to sleep. Felt your little hand in mine as we crossed the street. I always knew you'd spread your wings, that someday you'd go far. But growing up doesn't have to mean we're growing apart. There's no distance between your heart and mine, no distance, no dividing line, no resistance can ever find its way between the way we spend the tide. A bridge and a bond, no distance. Love goes on beyond all space and time. There's no distance between your heart and mine. I give you love and protection, but I know you're not really mine. We're just kindred spirits, entrusted to each other for a time. Every lesson taught is a lesson learned. In time, every table turns. But as far as I'm concerned, this is our eternal sign. No distance between your heart and mine, no distance, no dividing line, no resistance can ever find its way between the way we spend the tide. Our bond, no distance, love goes on beyond all space and time. There's no distance between your heart and mine. Any moment, anywhere, hold your hand to your heart, I'm there. No distance, your heart, mine, no distance, no dividing line, no resistance can ever find its way between where we spend the tide. No distance, love goes on beyond all space and time. There's no distance between your heart and mine. It's been years since I held you in my arms and rocked you to sleep. Thank you. Thank you.